All right, so just a little test on this. On the Rodecaster Pro 2 and using the Shure SM7B. Got the levels at 56 dB and currently I'm on neutral with no presets. So I'm going to go through the presets first and then we'll see how the different volume comes in or the different settings and try to get a feel for which is best. So anyway, this is the neutral and now I'm going to go on to Podcast Studio. So this is the Podcast Studio from Rodecaster Pro 2. And immediately I can hear the extra bass and it's more of a boominess, more of like a produced version of my voice, if you like. And this is what it's obviously it's trying to recreate a nice sound, a nice vibe to it with compression, EQ and all that already preset. And I'm not messing about. This is like on the dynamic settings. Sorry, just to add to the first section. This is the dynamic mic setting on the Rodecaster Pro 2. It's not the SM7B setting because they do have one for that. But I feel it's a little bit aggressive, so I'm not using that. I'm just using dynamic. So this is the Podcast Studio, and now I'm going to jump over to Broadcast. So now we're on the Broadcast settings, and this is a lot boomier, a lot deeper, and I can really hear the bass coming through on this. And it's like the old 60s and 70s, yeah, you're on the radio, let's talk about this, hey, hey, hey. So it's really, really broadcasty, which is a given, you know, it makes sense because it is called broadcast settings. Again, still at 56 dB. I'm hitting about between minus 20 to 15 on Hindenburg Pro 2. So good settings all rounder. That's the levels I want to be at. And it makes it easier to obviously not clip because you don't want to clip, but really just clean it up and tidy it up in post-processing or post-production. So that was broadcast. Now I've got two of my settings that I've messed about with. So the first one is my default SM7B setting for this. And I've added some EQ, compression, etc. And I'm going to try the SM7B 55 dB setting that or preset that I created. So now switching from broadcast to Danny default. So this is the Danny default, and immediately I can hear the bass has disappeared, and it seems more natural, less aggressive with the bass and the boominess. You can tell there's definitely EQ on here. It's not the neutral sound that was the first recording, so you can definitely tell there's a lot of difference in there. But I'm curious what it sounds like when listening back, and not adding any more EQ on it. I'll maybe just put some tiny post-production on it, so declicker, because I've got a little bit of a dry mouth for this morning. Maybe some declicker and possibly debreath, we'll see. Anyway, this is a Danny default, still 56 dB, still on the dynamic mic setting on the Rodecaster Pro 2. Switching over now to the SM7B 55 dB setting. So this is the SM7B 55 dB setting, and on this one I've been a bit more aggressive with the compressor and a bit more aggressive with the hold and release. I feel you can tell it right away. This sounds closer to me to the Podcast Studio set and the preset on Rodecaster Pro 2. Sounds a lot closer to that versus, say, obviously the neutral and even my default EQ processing that I'd set up and we'd listened to in the previous section. So again, this is the SM7B preset I've created on the Rodecaster Pro 2, and it's at 55 dB, a little bit less, just a tiny little bit less than the decibels. You probably can't hear the difference on that side. And then just to finish off, going back to the neutral. And this is me back to the neutral, and it really takes away the boominess of the last couple of presets and definitely the preset for Podcast and Broadcast Studio on the Rodecaster Pro 2. Again, this is just neutral, dynamic mic, 56 dB, and about 56 dB on the Rodecaster Pro 2, and about 20 to 15 dB on the Hindenburg Pro 2. Let's have a listen back and see what those sound like. Cheers.